morning is this? I'm so excited to be sitting next to Bobbi Brown, but as they mentioned, the man back there, I'm Jill Manoff, editor-in-chief of Glossy. We cover the intersection of fashion, beauty, and wellness with luxury, with technology and digital. And I'm not going to say needs no introduction, but obviously this is one of the most famous beauty founders, entrepreneurs, founder of her namesake, Bobbi Brown Cosmetics, and also more recently, Jones Road. Hi, Bobbi.
Hi, Jill. Good job. Nice to see you.
So good to see you. Let's ease into the conversation here and circle back to where it all began. So you really paved the road, paved the road for all of these makeup artists turned brand founders, the Pat McGraths of the world, the Donnie Davies of the world. What was going on in 1991, early 90s, when you started Bobbi Brown?
I was a makeup artist for probably about 7 years before that. I actually studied theatrical makeup in college at Emerson College. They did not have a program, but they let me design my own major. Now I know it's called being an entrepreneur. So I graduated with a BFA in theatrical makeup, and what do you do with that? Absolutely nothing. So I moved to New York, and there was no computers, there was no Google, there was no SMS. So I opened up the Yellow Pages and looked up modeling agencies and photographers, and I just started making calls. And I figured it out, and I put together a portfolio, and it took me 7 years to get a Vogue cover, but I was a freelance makeup artist. And while I was a makeup artist, I was so frustrated by the lack of colors that worked on people's skin, I started mixing my own. So that's pretty much how it started. And in 1991, I had my first kid, and I didn't want to travel. And I made a lipstick that I thought, wow, everyone would probably love this natural color lipstick. And that's how I started.
I mean, we were not going to talk about this today, but I mean, since the rise of no makeup, like I would say you were the OG. You put this on the map. Lipstick that looks like your lips. I mean, what a concept.
Blush that looks like your cheek. And how about this for a concept? A foundation that looks like the color of your skin. So if I ever write a memoir, it'll be called Duh. I don't know if it's really a name, but it's like, that's what you do. You make common sense decisions, and people think it's brilliant because some people think too much.
Yeah, well, talk about how you became this household name, because on the fashion side of Glossy, we talk a lot about kind of the traditional route where it was you get picked up by a Barney's or a Bergdorf, you maybe go to the traditional fashion school, but on the beauty side, like, was there a traditional path?
No, I started as, I didn't know there was called an indie beauty person. I was an indie beauty person because I would put lipsticks in little bags, little, manila like folders, and send them to people's houses with a little card that had the ingredients. So I didn't have packaging, and that's how it started. And then one day I was with a friend of mine who asked me what I was doing, and I told her, and she said, can I write about it? She was the beauty editor of Glamour. I'm like, why would you want to write about it? Now I know it's called PR, which I think PR still exists. Maybe now it's more something else. Everything changes. And then I was at a party, and I'm the person that always talks to people, and I ask questions, and the woman who threw the party, I asked her what she did. She said she was a cosmetics buyer at Bergdorf Goodman. I hadn't shopped at Bergdorf Goodman. I pitched my 10 lipsticks, and after a month or so, she took them. So I launched these lipsticks in Bergdorf Goodman.
I mean, you've always been about this very kind of a real approach, which I don't know that I necessarily think of Bergdorf Goodman when I think of the real woman. Talk about that. Did it take kind of...
Well, it's a real woman, but it's a real woman with a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean, they're real women. They just have money to buy nice things. And it wasn't, like, there's not a strategic thing that I do. I usually just follow my gut, and yes, it's a strategy. I know what it is, but it's always in my head, not on paper.
Yes.
So, that's honestly how we started. And It was a big success, lipstick that looked like people's lip colors. Like, again, it's common sense.
Yep, for sure. Well, many have followed your footsteps. Let's, again, fast forward a bit, maybe 5 years in or so, Estee Lauder came around. A lot of brand founders, entrepreneurs, marketers in the audience here, well, first founders, the decision to be acquired, the decision to take on investment funding, I mean, that's a huge decision. What made you do it? What motivated you?
Well, it wasn't investment funding. That stuff didn't exist back then. Those words, there was no series anything. But basically, they called and said, you're beating us, which we were, in Neiman Marcus and Bergdorf. You know, we want to buy you. And I wasn't for sale, but my husband and I started the company with another couple. Very simple here. We were not getting along. It was not the most beautiful relationship. And it seemed like a good decision because I really wanted to raise my kids and not be just, you know, a working woman with a briefcase on airplanes.
Yeah. What would you say were the lessons learned? And this is a unique circumstance this day and age. It's not like you sold the company, you were there a year, you wiped your hands of it all, and that was that. You were there 20 plus years with Estee Lauder.
I stayed 22 years as an employee, and I should not be an employee to anyone. But I did. I was an employee, and most of the years it worked out, and then it didn't, and it was time to go. And, but you stay 22 years with a big corporation. What the takeaway is they're different than you are, a lot of, the people that you're in meetings with. And you just have to say things like, that's a really good idea, but then don't do it. There's no reason to argue. And it's probably why I'm still married 34 years.
I was listening to a podcast, I think it was the Glossy podcast, but it was like for a good 18 to 20 years, you were doing your thing, and maybe there was no pushing to do something more so than that you weren't comfortable with.
Right.
Talked about those happy years.
Well, the happy years were amazing. I got to do things that I never, ever dreamt possible, from going to big events to staying at the most incredible hotels with butlers and, all sorts of fun stuff. And just, being part of things. But I'm not a corporate person. I don't like wasting time. I don't like wasting energy. And I don't like, excuse my language, listening to bullshit. So some of the things were hard for me, some were easy, but everything was working really well. And I learned a lot. It was really going to business school. But I realized when I look back, all the things I did that were not part of my day-to-day jobs, like I wrote 9 books, beauty books. I don't know how to type, by the way, and I've written 9 books. I became the beauty editor-in-chief of Yahoo Beauty, and I certainly can't do much with my computer. And so I was kind of an intrapreneur, right? I started a blog. I did all sorts of things. So that kind of kept me occupied.
Yeah, so you would say maybe the Estee Lauder deal and situation, having those resources work to your advantage. Yeah. What were the pros and cons? You were able to leverage what?
Well, the pros, there's a lot of resources. There's whatever you needed. The cons were, in order to make a decision, it wasn't just you saying, I want to do this, or I think we should do this. So, there's definitely both. But what I've learned in all the years, working for someone, being in this company, is really what matters and what to do. But more important, I've learned what doesn't matter and what not to do. And so starting Jones Road with the knowledge and experience, and then having all these really great, young, cool kids that like listening to the stuff that I did and how I think, but then they put their spin on it and they figure it out, and it's kind of magical.
Yeah, well, I definitely want to get into Bobbi Brown, the TikTok star. But before that, you talked about writing the books. At the time, years ago, you were on the Today Show. There was, at a time, QVC. And
right. Well, there's platforms to get your message out there. Now it's easy. There's so many platforms, but at the beginning there wasn't. So I became the beauty editor of the Today Show because I met Jeff Zucker's grandmother at a book signing in Florida, and she introduced me to Jeff, and I went on Monday, and I was on for 14 years. That was a huge platform. That was amazing. And, QVC was also, other brands were not on it at the time, the higher end brands. And I said okay because I talked them into giving $25,000 to Dress for Success every time I was on. So that was good. Yeah.
So not every founder is maybe comfortable with saying, I'm going to be the face of the brand. You've obviously seen the power of doing so and getting yourself out there.
I never said I was going to be the face of the brand. I never said I wanted to be well known. I never said I wanted to be famous. It just kind of happened.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, and then probably if I had a crystal ball, I would say, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But I am. And it's even worse now with TikTok. Oh my God. I go shopping for furniture in New Jersey with my husband, and every time I go around a corner, someone's like, oh, you're the lady from TikTok. I mean, come on. I've been in Vogue. I made the Forbes list, but no, I'm the lady from TikTok.
Well, Joe's Road. Let's talk to the whole strategy behind this beast, which is killing it. So immediately after your non-compete expired, this was during the pandemic. We'll get into that as well. But this is a clean cosmetics brand. That's a huge differentiator from what you were doing in the past. What else was maybe the opportunity that you saw? Obviously, I mean, you have a lot of authority in this space.
Well, when I left the first brand, I had no idea what I was going to do. I didn't have a concept, a thought. And the first thing I did was a project with my husband, because I had a 25-year non-compete. No one has a 25-year non-compete. And when I left the company, I had 4.5 years left. 4.5 years is a really long time. So I went and I have a charm, sorry, sound people, but there's a charm that is an ampersand, and it's got on the back 10.20, which is when my non-compete was up. So I had 4.5 years to fill. I didn't go to the theater, I didn't play golf, I didn't, garden. I did nothing except projects. So my husband and I renovated a hotel in Montclair called the George. I opened a photo and TV studio, 18 label, and I had to get permission, but I had a wellness brand called Evolution 18, which doesn't exist anymore. So I did those things, and then my non-compete was up on October 26th, and I sat there in the middle of the pandemic, a week before the presidential elections, and every famous friend of mine who is in PR or anything said, you're making a mistake, don't do it now, wait. And I said to myself, thanks for the advice. And I literally, on the day of, no one was stopping me. I launched it because I could. And it was amazing. We launched it from my office. We all had masks on. I took it off. We shot the Today Show. We had Wall Street Journal and Elvis Duran. So we hit those, and then the digital thing started, and then the election happened.
Oh my gosh.
But it was fine. There was like 4 employees at the time. I think now we have 25 to 30.
Yeah. I'm sure, like you, the start of the pandemic, like that time, it feels like 20 years ago. Anyway.
It does. It's kind of amazing that no one's wearing masks, thank God.
Thank goodness. I want to circle back a little bit more. When leaving your namesake company, did it just feel like, what did that even feel like?
Well, it was actually very weird and not easy. And, it was actually hard. But like anything you go through in life, it takes time. And, it wasn't like, oh, this is great, phew. But I had to deal with some personal feelings, and I didn't go to a shrink or anything. A friend of mine who's a life coach came over, and he was really helpful. And my chiropractor, I'm like one of those little bit of the woo-woo guys, but my chiropractor does a lot of emotional healing things, and he released things and took. No, don't laugh. That and tequila, I got to tell you, good combination.
Where did the name Jones Road come from?
Well, I was driving to the Hamptons with my husband, and if I didn't find a name, I couldn't hire someone to do the logo. I would have missed the date, and literally if I didn't think of a name that week, I was in trouble, and I wanted to launch on that day. So we were driving, and my husband doesn't like to be late, so he's driving, and I'm looking at Google Maps, and I'm looking at Waze, and my head went down, I saw Jones Road. I said, Jones Road Beauty. And he said, that's cool. It reminded me of the UK, and I couldn't use Brown, so I thought, I'll use Jones. And it was available, so that's where it came from.
I like this. Well, this is really a family business. Your son's involved. Talk about that.
My son, I have 3 sons. We have 3 sons. Our second son, he was born Dakota. His name is Cody, and he's our CMO. And it's like so incredibly awesome and bizarre that this little kid has really is like one of the most powerful people on my team, and it's incredible. And his wife is our head of social. My husband, of course, is the head of the board. And luckily I had 22 years in corporate America saying this is a great idea, because you have to kind of have those things.
Yeah.
So I feel really lucky and fortunate, and like everything in life, what's not a challenge and what isn't hard? Everything is.
Yeah. What do you know about the customer that's followed you from Bobbi Brown to Jones Road, where obviously you do have this entirely new audience and customer, but is there a good mix? Is it half and half?
I don't know if it's half and half. I don't know, the numbers. I know that, the girl that does my amazing SMS, Joanne, is here and handed me a piece of paper with a couple, 3 little notes on it, But I don't know exactly what that data is. I don't even know if it's data or data. Do you guys even know? Is it data or data? I don't know. But, is it a GIF or a GIF?
I don't really even know either.
So I don't know. I do know what people want, and I do know how to make formulas that are easy to use and make you look better. How about that for a concept, a beauty brand that makeup actually makes you look better?
I like it. Let's talk about the whole philosophy behind Jones Road, because it's really unique in terms of how you approach product development, commerce, marketing, the whole kit and caboodle. Caboodle. Really focused on community. Is that how you would describe it?
Well, certainly having, Instagram for a visual person is so amazing, because I communicate with people, I post things, I ask things. And having a small brand, I don't have to ask 15, Harvard MBA marketing people if I should and when I should. I just kind of do it and, wait for Cody to call me and say, Mom, you shouldn't have done that. But I know he's listening. He's home with my 2-week-old grandchild, just saying. But it's, we're learning as we go. And, I think it's pretty amazing, because we're able to have this beauty business that's not retail based. It's direct to consumer, and we can connect with our customer. I mean, I personally connect with them, and it's so interesting to me. And we now have in our CX world, all of our CX team are makeup artists. So if you have complaints or you need to know something about makeup, they're makeup artists, so they could help you choose your colors. I think that's novel. Thank you, Eli. And we have something called JRB Roadies, which are, I think we have, I'm really bad with numbers. Was it 1,000? I don't even remember. How many? 1,400 members of, see, I'm really not good with numbers, guys, but I'm really good with notes.
Take a moment, look at your notes.
No, I don't have that. I just have our monthly revenue of our SMS is 5 to 6%, which Joanne says is really good. So yes, no.
Is it also about kind of this I don't know if you'd call it natural, but clean aesthetic? I know, having listened to some of your interviews, it's a pain point, the idea of contouring and things like that.
Well, I don't believe in contouring, because I don't think people need to change their face. I'm sorry, if you don't like the way your face looks, you should work on that more than trying to change it. No, and you know what I do when I look in the mirror and I look bad? I stop looking. No, I do. It's like, and then I go exercise and I look so much better. I mean, yeah, it's like, so no, I don't think you have to contour, and I'm not someone that advocates, plastic surgery. And I hope that people get more comfortable with themselves, that as you age, you get healthier and not try to change your face.
Right on.
I hope.
Yes. Well, having seen both worlds, the wholesale retail game and now direct to consumer, I guess, are there learnings since you launched 2 years ago that you would even tell the retailers, say, this isn't working for brands anymore?
No, but what's so amazing about having this kind of brand is we were going to launch our, TikTok Sensation Foundation, What the Foundation, in January, and something happened where we couldn't. And normally you'd freak out because your whole year and the retailers and the people at the counter. But when they called me up and they're like, my team is like saying, God, I don't know what to do. There's a shipping problem, blah, blah. I'm like, calm down. No one knows we're doing it. So we moved it. So we did it in March and not in January. Like, that's the good thing about having a digital business. And, what's fun for me is doing these things that other people couldn't do in, a big giant company. And, the company has grown faster than I anticipated.
Nice. Have you been able to leverage some of those prior relationships? Was it easier for you, would you say, not only your name and notoriety, but like to say, hey, I can go back to this guy. They're great with the product development. They're great with product. Or did you have those connections?
You know what? I do have the connections, but I really didn't go backwards. I just went to new labs. I was looking for a different thing, looking for a different aesthetic. Right. And I didn't set out to create a clean brand, but when I was creating a brand, why wouldn't I make it clean? So, I'm not one of those people that says you can't put anything on your skin that's not something. I'm like, you know what, if I'm out in the woods, I'm putting some bad stuff on, some bug stuff. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna put on something that doesn't work. And I don't think anything's drastically gonna happen. So for me, it's just about, creating the best formulas I can. Yep. with the product development team. I had one, and now I have 3 people on my team. So it's pretty amazing.
Nice.
Yeah.
If there are beauty geeks in the audience, maybe they want to know what is your take on clean? Is there like a no-no list?
There is 2,700 ingredients that you can't have in your products if you want to be considered clean. And before I launched the brand, I had lunch with the founder of Credo, and she gave me the list, and that's how I started it. And then as they change, they give it to me, and I give it to my team, and they call the labs and say, is any of this in there? Okay, fine. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah,
so never say never maybe, but your idea about teaming with a retail partner or even launching stores, talk about sales channels.
Well, we're actually in the Credo stores. I think they have 11 altogether. And we have one freestanding store in Montclair, New Jersey, which is where my home, my office, everything is. And we will probably next year open a pop-up in New York, probably Florida, and then I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of grief for Chicago because that's where my family's from. So we'll probably do that, but we don't have these long-term plans. We're still growing and building teams. We are, as I mentioned, we're looking for a head of marketing, brand marketing, head of influencer, creative strategist. Yeah, we have a headhunter, but I haven't headhunted anyone yet.
If you know of anyone. Yes, talk to me about, lost my train of thought, but I will ask.
Yeah.
Here's where we're going.
Yeah.
I know. I would just say, talking again to founders about, no, launching during the pandemic. Let's talk about the challenge of all of that. Yeah. Because, obviously you're on your own timetable being direct to consumer. Yeah. I'm sure you had supply chain issues, but what was the headache?
Well, we didn't have supply chain issues because we ordered, I think, 5,000 of each product, which we didn't know if it was going to be popular or not. And, So supply chain didn't really kind of give us a problem until I went on to TikTok. But in the beginning, it was fine. And yeah, the challenge is that people were in my office, the few people we had, you're afraid to even be together because there was no vaccines, no one really knew what was going on, but we all worked virtually, and the FedEx guy, dropped everything outside. Of course, you had to leave it outside for like a day, you had to Windex it, then you opened it up. So we went through all of that, and when we finally did kind of get back together, we would take all the tests, and it was really great to be in an office, but it was equally as great to go back to your houses and do things on your Zoom and on your computer. So Jones Road will always be a hybrid company that way.
Great.
Yeah.
Are you guys in a couple days a week?
We are in 3 days a week. Most people are in 3 days a week, yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay, great.
Yeah. But I also found a lot of the things that you traditionally do when you have a big brand is, you have these big giant parties that cost a lot of money, and you put these bows on these bags, and you do all these things. You don't have to do it anymore. You just get someone's address and you ask them if you could send it to them because they're at their home. And, most people, of course, say, yes, I'd love to get some makeup, thank you.
Definitely. You've talked a lot about kind of launch strategy. Like, what's your cadence for rolling out new products these days?
Well, we're trying to slow things down because there's no loss for innovation and creative ideas, so we have a lot of things in the pipeline. I think we're trying to do it once every 2 months. But, there's also fun, cool ways to get people excited about things that are always in your brand. So, there's always a story. And I just think authenticity for brands and really being like what's true to you, people pay more attention to. So that's kind of what we do for Jones Road.
Yes. Well, again, during the pandemic, as everything is obviously social commerce and all things digital, accelerated, e-commerce, mobile use. It really worked to your advantages, I would say, in terms of the way that you're creating content. Yes, how have you leaned into the mobile opportunity, the e-commerce opportunity, would you say?
Well, certainly I hire a lot of young people who kind of know what they're doing. But so content, you could walk around with a phone. You don't need much. We do photo shoots every couple months, and we shoot a lot of things. I'm really lucky we're right next door to the photo studio, a film and TV and photo studio that I own, so we get to just go over there. But it's, for me, I'm a teacher, and I like to teach how to do things, and I like to empower and inspire. So the best way to do that is, with a video, with, an email, SMS, you reach people where they are. And you have to be open because I don't have to tell you guys this. It keeps changing, right? So you just have to be open and not talk about it so much, but actually just do it.
Yes. We did not plan to talk about this again, although text, I gotta know, how do they hear from you via a text? They obviously want to hear from you. Do they see your face? Do you say, this is Bobbi?
Well, I think we've done everything, but we tell stories, or we explain why we're launching something or what it is. And again, Joanne, who runs it for us, who works with my son, and now Eli, you talk about what's happening from a marketing level, and then what does the email look like? What does the TikTok look like? What does the SMS? To me, it's got to be different because, you're sending a lot of things to the same people, but it has to have the same overlying message. And, sometimes I do sign things, and other times especially on Instagram, if someone says something and I'm bored, which is most of the time, I'll answer.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What happened?
Look how much better we look now.
Tell me about high level. Obviously, you had a viral moment that I definitely want to talk about, but taking off, resonating on TikTok. Everybody's wondering how to kind of crack the code on TikTok. What works for you?
Well, the story behind the TikTok is January of this year, I had a meeting with Gary V and my son Cody. We wanted to talk to him just in general about some content because no one does it better than Gary V. So he said, forget what you're doing, stop. Go hire a team, go get an agency, and just go on TikTok. And I looked at Cody like, I'm not going on TikTok. You know, TikTok was my niece Sydney and her friends dancing, and I'm not doing that. But we hung up the phone, and Cody looked at me, and he pulled his phone out. He said, all right, Mom, we're going on TikTok. And I said, hey, guys, it's Bobbi. I'm here. What do you want to know? And we got a plethora of women saying, oh, my God, this is amazing. I need to know how to line my eyes. I need to know this. I need to know this. So then we started answering their questions. And, you know, we started going viral, whatever viral means. We got a lot of people, you know, and I was shocked and surprised because most of the people were 40, 50, 60. I couldn't believe it, actually. And so it was a new platform for us to communicate, to ask what you want to see, answer questions. Everybody, I don't care how many times I teach people how to line their eyes, how to find the right concealer, how to not look tired. There's still more people that need to know it. So, you know, we never have to not say these things. And you don't try to go viral. Some things just do and some things don't. Like, I'm not looking for that, but when it happens, you know, it's a happy surprise.
Yeah.
So we launched the foundation called What the Foundation, because this foundation, when you put it on, doesn't look like you have anything on, but your skin looks so much better. And basically, when I put it on, I said to my team, what the, I didn't say foundation. And when we launched it, there was a lot of excitement and fanfare and questions, but there was a TikTok person, and she basically did a TikTok how much she hated it, and she literally took it in 2 giant scoops and put it on her face and just said, this is disgusting, it was running off, it was this. And so at first I was bummed. I'm like, oh my God, someone's trashing something I love. But then I looked at it, I'm like, first of all, she's got a weird base underneath it. So yeah, it is pilling on her base because it's oil infused. And I said, I better do some educational videos. So we sat there and I said, this foundation is for people that don't want to look like they're wearing foundation, has medium to dry skin. You want to look like better, but you don't want to look like you have, I had to say this really nicely, you don't want to look like you have too full of coverage in a matte finish. I mean, what I should have said is you don't want to look like you have, you know, spackle on your face. It's not for you. So I did those, and I was really tired and giddy, and I said, wait, I have one more. And we pressed the button, and I went like this on my hands, and I said, you know, as a makeup artist, I love to learn new things. So I learned something this week. I'm going to try it. I went like this. I put it on my face, and I just cracked up. It got in my mouth. I giggled, and that was it. I left. I told my 24-year-old son about this. He says, Mom, do not put that up because you can't go against, you know, a TikTok sensation. You can't do that. I'm like, okay. So I called Cody. I said, Cody, don't put it up. He said, too late, Mom. The train has left the station. That one, I'm sure, was our most viral one. And what happened, which I was so shocked, people were coming to my defense saying, yes, I learned this, I clapped back. I didn't know what a clap back was, but apparently I clapped back. And you know, I got a lot of positivity and our sales quadrupled. Oh, so it was, yeah, and now it's become that really crazy famous moment.
It swept the nation.
Yeah.
You did clap back. Do you think that there are people, obviously there are the no makeup girls, there are the natural makeup lovers. Are there 2 worlds where there, like you said, the contour girls, where I sometimes watch these how-to videos and I'm like, the amount of makeup on their faces, it's this and this and this, I don't know, shading and the red and the green and all of this stuff. Does it require a lot of education? Is your approach education? This is how to wear this, even if it's the simplest thing, because people think makeup has to be complicated.
Right. Well, makeup to me is not complicated. It's really simple. And you know, just like anything in life, we have Democrats and we have Republicans. We have people that like to contour, we have people that don't like to contour. We have people that like to wear sneakers, people that like to wear high heels. So it's, you know, it's a big world and you could choose whatever lane you want. I am very happy that a lot of people do want to look like better. You know, our hashtag is how not to look like shit. And that's, but isn't that why you put makeup on some days? Because you're like, oh my God, I look so tired. You're probably tired, number one, but yeah.
Yeah.
So, but you know, there's a person that loves Jones Road, and I'm sure there's people that don't.
Yeah. Has this changed the whole experience with this influencer? Has it changed your outlook on influencer marketing? Do you leverage influencers quite a lot? Is it take a certain influencer to work with you? How would you describe it?
You know, in the beginning, we tried things that didn't necessarily work. Now, I have a list called FOBs, which are friends of Bobbi's. So, you know, when I have big launches, I'll circle who to send things to, and you know, Kris Jenner, like, you know, did a couple shout outs. It didn't do anything for us. It just, you know, but other people who have a more engaged, like, audience, like, little things made a big difference. So over the years, the 2 years, we've kind of collected our best content creators who have followings and make content that we like. Yeah. Because a lot of things were coming back and they weren't really on brand, which means they were tacky, or the lighting wasn't good, or the makeup wasn't good, or something weird. And I'm just someone that I can't have a long giant nail going into a Miracle Balm. Like, I don't want to see it, you know? So we kind of, you know, have narrowed down, and then we know who to send things to.
Yes. Well, you've seen the power of being kind of an early mover on these emerging platforms. Like, are you dabbling with, I don't know, Be Real? Are you on these other emerging social platforms? Are you venturing beyond? Is TikTok the latest and the greatest as you see it?
Well, I'm still on Pinterest. I decorate my houses and renovate houses on Pinterest.
Yeah.
So I'm on things that are visual. I'm not on any of the selling. You know, I'm not in any of the selling ones. I don't feel it, you know, but I didn't feel QVC until I did. Yeah. So I'm open to, you know, to anything, especially if someone in my office can handle it, because I run, I think, 3 Instagrams, the hotel, 18 Label, and Just Bobbi, and I'm not allowed to touch Jones Road, or my daughter-in-law would not let me see her child.
Right on. Gosh, just looking back again, the past 20 plus years, like the beauty industry, how would you describe where it's going compared to where it's been? Is it just faster? Is it just, I don't know, more real? How would you describe it?
Well, I think there's more opportunities for founders. There's more platforms to get your information out there. There are certainly more brands than there ever was. Could someone think of a celebrity who doesn't have a beauty brand? I mean, it's just very popular right now, but it used to be influencers, and YouTube stars started beauty brands. That didn't work. And, you know, there's some very talented founders who are doing really well and have a different kind of approach, and there's other people that, you know, are raising and spending a lot of money and not doing anything. So I do think there's opportunity, especially if you're able to do something that is different. And to any founders out there, just don't say I didn't like what was on the market, so I created my own. Like, there's got to be some other, you know, marketing spin than that.
Yes. Well, before we turn it over to the audience, which be thinking about your questions, we'll have a couple of minutes at the end. But gosh, what can we expect, I guess, in the next 12 months from Jones Road? I mean, obviously, everything's a little bit unpredictable and unstable this day and age. But if you had to say.
Well, we have a pretty good end of the year with some great things. There's going to be some exciting news in the UK, which I'm excited about, a couple weeks away. And, you know, our holiday kits will be launching, and we're actually waiting for holiday to launch them, even though everyone else has launched them, you know, during the Jewish holidays, but I guess that's a holiday. So just more new products and some great new categories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've already mentioned a lot of words of wisdom for emerging founders, new founders. Anything in terms of, yes, pushing your great idea and what you believe in forward, getting it further off the ground. Is there anything else in that area that you would say?
Well, you know, I speak to a lot of founders I've become friends with, and they call me, and everyone is the same. Everyone is like hyperventilating. I'm like, guys, calm down. breathe. Let's talk. Like, breathe. Everyone's like, oh, I just got a Series A, and then I'm like, okay, just calm down. Like, I'm having an event here. I'm doing this. I'm like, so that's my biggest advice is like, slow down. It's like having a brand is like having a child. You have to kind of nurture and learn this child before the company grows. Everyone is in a rush.
Yeah.
So that's my biggest advice.
Yeah. One more thing on contours
Yeah.
and non-contour and all of these things. Like you said, when you're staying true to who you are, like, are you just paying attention to the trends out there, and whether it's a marketing trend or a product, a makeup trend for your category, and just kind of leaning in to take advantage or leaning into the opportunity if it makes sense for you, or you're ignoring trends altogether?
I'm anti-trend.
Yep.
I'm more pro ideas.
Yeah.
Like, to me, if someone comes to me with an idea, then that's interesting. I don't care if it's a new platform or a new something, but if it's a trend, I mean, the reason trends come is because people have to write about something. So they're here and then they're gone. So I never was a trend person.
Yeah.
So.
I like it. Well, let's do some questions from the audience. There is a microphone in the aisle, I believe. And if you don't have any, of course, I can keep going here. This is oh so fun. Thank you, Bobbi.
I see one here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll repeat it, so go ahead.
Sure.
How do you see your growth, Bobbi? Will you continue in this specific vertical, or will you do collaborations, let's say, with a skincare company, a skin tool, device company?
Well, the question was, if you didn't hear it, like, where do I see the growth for Jones Road? Will I collaborate with different skincare companies? Well, we're a beauty company, so I wouldn't collaborate with a skincare company because we have skincare. I definitely am up for collaborations. We did our first one, which launched about a month ago, with a hairdresser friend of mine that kept talking about what he wanted to do, but he couldn't do it. And I finally was tired of listening to him. I said, we're going to just do this. So we have a hair collab product, which people love the formula. It's Hervé Claude times Jones Road. So I want to do fun, interesting things. I'm not sure what it is. Like, I'd love to do Louis Vuitton. Can you imagine a Louis Vuitton like case? But they own too many brands.
Oh my gosh. Do you see that as like a trial test opportunity? Like our audience, our shopper really gravitated toward this hair care product, and
I see it as a invigorating something I could try. I love new things, and I love doing things that I've never done that make no sense.
Yeah, next question.
Hi.
Hi, I'm the founder of a press-on nail brand, Rave Nails. I wanted to know, you sold your first company and then launched one literally the second you could. Would you sell your company if you went back in time?
Ooh.
Yes, I would have done exactly what I did, 100%. It never would have grown. It was $1 billion when I left. I don't know what it is now. I mean, I've been gone 6 years. So I would have absolutely done the exact same thing. And, I have no desire to sell this company, but there is a number, because, some of my money people friends have asked me. There's a crazy number, but I enjoy what I'm doing, and I enjoy watching this young brand grow.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good question. I saw a question way over there.
Hello, everyone. First of all, before I even start introducing myself, I am so happy to be here. I used to be a makeup artist, and because of you and the work that you did, so thanks, girl.
You could be a model, too. You're beautiful.
I'm trying to do that, so if anybody needs one.
Send me,
my name's...
SMS me your picture. Does that work?
Please. Let's do it. My name's Diamond Hawkins. I am the CEO and founder of an inclusive beauty retailer online, and our focus is to change conversations around what beauty means. So my question to you is, how do you feel, how important is storytelling, but particularly when it comes to documenting things on film?
Well, to be inclusive?
Yeah, like in regards to...
Yeah.
Let me give a little background.
Yeah.
So my theory is, if we're going to change behavior, I think one of the first industry to start with is beauty. Mm-hmm. It's that first thing that all of us see ourselves in, how we show up, our aesthetics in our homes, things of that sort. But I feel like there's not a big when it comes to documentation in films, movies, interviews, things of that sort, I feel like makeup and beauty is left out. How important do you feel that it is for us to document our stories in beauty on film in the future of the world that we live in today?
Well, I think, first of all, I've been someone that I've never said, oh, we should be inclusive. I always have been. It just always made sense to me. If I'm going to put a foundation out, it has to match everyone's skin. If I'm going to put a blush out, it's going to have to. So I've always been, it's never been a question. And it's not just for women with dark skin, it's women with pale skin or women, who have skin issues. To me, being a beauty brand has to be inclusive. And as far as, I'm a teacher and I like to, to make videos of how-tos. We make sure that we have women of many different ages, many different skin tones, many, different everything. So it's really important to me. And I think it's changing. I think I've always been this way, but I see other brands, they might think they have to, but it's happening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I actually think we are out of time.
One more
Let's take a
question.
quickie.
Yeah.
Bobbi wants to.
Because I see a guy. I want, see how inclusive I am?
Bobbi, hi, thanks. So my name is Sean. Thanks so much for an amazing talk. It's
thanks.
absolutely amazing to listen to you. I'd love to know, what do you think and what do you see in sort of the next 10, 20 years of beauty and cosmetics?
Well, I think it's going to continue to do what it's doing, meaning it's going to evolve, and there's not going to be, I think some of the bigger brands are probably going to start to change, and maybe some of the brands that are in the big department stores might end up, going somewhere else. And I think some of the small brands now are going to end up being the big brands. And I think it's going to be different. I don't know how yet, but I know it's going to be different. But I look at a company like Casper, who it was all a digital brand, and now, you can buy it in a store. You could buy a Peloton now, and I forget which store. I mean, things kind of are cyclical. So I do think beauty is going to evolve also. And I think the big brands are going to have the hardest time.
Amazing questions, you guys. Well, I don't need to be here. Anyway, you guys, let's give Bobbi a big, big round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Yes. And JonesRoadBeauty.com. Find out more about the brand, sign up for the texts. And yeah, thanks, you guys.
Bye, guys. Thank you.